So if you've been watching the housing headlines, you know that last year was a bit of a roller coaster. But March of this year just gave us the clearest signal yet of where 2026 is headed. And today I'm taking you behind the curtain of the most recent data. We're going to walk through the 9 key metrics that tell the story of our market right now, from price jumps in Henderson to a massive spike in buyer activity. This is your first look market report for April 2026. Let's dive in. So first up, the big number is average sales price. And you can see here on the graph, the entire MLS for the month of March was at 566,669. All right, but the big number came out of Henderson, 720,541. Now, we've spent the last several months sort of up and down each month, sort of churning sideways in the market. And that's kind of a signal of a more balanced market. But what's happening in Henderson is really interesting. And it's to be expected, given that Henderson has been building a lot more luxury homes the last several years. And we're starting to see that reflected in the average monthly price. Those higher dollar sales, more of them happening, is driving up that average overall. So again, this 725.41, big jump from the Henderson number of the previous month, almost $90,000 jump. So when we see that average outpace the median price like this, it tells us that the luxury market is on fire right now. High-end buyers are back and they are spending money. Now let's take a look at the median sales price, which kind of gives us a better look at the middle of the market. The entire market is sitting right now at 441,296. And keep in mind that we're looking at the entire MLS, which includes Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, Henderson, but also Laughlin, Mesquite, Pahrump. So we're looking at the whole MLS and then breaking down the numbers in a few of these bigger markets like Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, and Henderson. So the whole MLS is sitting at 441,296. Here's the perspective. If I hover back over March of last year, we were at 443,487, which is right here, right? So we're at effectively the exact same spot. Now, what does that tell us? It tells us the market may have finally found its floor, and then we're seeing a bit of balance. We've moved past that volatility of 2023 and 2024, and we've entered a period of price stability. Now, Las Vegas proper is at 440,000 for the month, and your affordability champ is still North Las Vegas at 410,000. Prices are stable, but what does closed sales volume show us? And actually, the closed sales volume is kind of exploding for the last couple of months. We had a big dip in closed sales in January and February. Well, we came up a little bit in February, but December and January were pretty bad. You can see here December 2,483 for the whole MLS. November wasn't that great either, 2,096 for the whole MLS. But this was a scary number. In January, 1,984. And I think a lot of people thought that the market in Vegas was finally going to turn over and head south because we were seeing so few closed sales. But again, we're looking at March. We saw that 3,004 in March. That's a 29% increase over February's 2,266. Now, this isn't just a seasonal bump. This is a surge. To put that in perspective, we haven't seen this many homes close in a single month since the peak of the spring market in 2025. So that was back here, March 2025. And if we go back to August 2024, you can see big number back there too. And we may hit this number or close to it, this May 2024 number. We may hit that number in April, and I'll show you why here in just a second if you stick with me. So anyway, people aren't just looking anymore. They're out there signing contracts and moving in. The real estate engine is humming again. So with more sales comes more speed. Average days on market has officially turned the corner. Homes are selling faster. We spent, if we look at average days on market, we spent January and February sort of stuck up here at 57 days on market, 58 for Las Vegas proper, 59 for Henderson. North Las Vegas was only 38 days on the market, but the majority of the market's kind of up here, almost 2 months on days on market. That winter drag where things were sort of feeling sluggish looked like it was going to continue into spring. But in March, that number dropped dramatically. We're at 49 days in March for days on market. Now, if you're a seller and you've been sort of worried about your house sitting on the market for 2 or more months, that window's closing. The pace of the market is accelerating as we head into April, and that's a good sign. There's still lots of opportunity out there. The question is, where are these houses coming from that are hitting the market? Well, sellers have finally woken up and are officially listing their homes for sale. We had 4,897 new listings hit the market in March. That's a big number. That's a spring awakening. And it goes to, show that sellers are paying attention to what's going on out there. Prices are holding up really well. I want to make my move this year. I might as well get my home on the market, especially with buyer activity sort of waking up at the same time. Sellers who were sitting on the sidelines last fall, they're jumping in now. So we're seeing a healthy flow of new inventory, which is exactly what we need to keep this market from overheating again with prices rising too much because we don't have enough homes for sale. So that's a good thing, the fact that we're seeing more homes hit the market. April is actually considered one of the best months of the year to list your home. So it's certainly not too late to take advantage of this momentum if you're a seller and you've been sort of sitting on the sidelines and waiting. Now, this is where the story gets a little more interesting. Even though we had over 4,800 new listings, the total number of homes for sale actually decreased. And if you look at the number right here, we had 10,880 homes for sale in the entire MLS in March. Now, you're wondering, how does that work? If we're adding thousands of new listings, why is the total inventory going down? And it's because the buyer demand is higher. It's the demand's higher than the number of active inventory or the amount of active homes we've got coming on the market. We dropped from 11,309 in February to 10,880 in March, and we're down quite a bit from where we were last fall. Last fall we had 13,000, 14,000 homes for sale. So we're, a lot of people out there, doomsayers on the internet or market analysts are saying that Vegas has too many homes for sale. I would disagree. And in fact, if you have a little perspective, we go back 5 years, we've had other peaks that are higher. September of 2022, that was quite a bit higher. And we've had back in July of 2019, 13,889. That's a pretty big number. So right now, the fact that we're sitting at 10,880 going into one of the busiest times for home sales in the year, the spring and early summer market, that tells me that our inventory is in pretty good shape. So that leads us to the month's supply of homes. If we look at how many months supply there are, in other words, if right now today there were no more new homes to come on the market and we had to sell through what we had on the market, the existing number of homes, we're currently at a 4.2 month supply for the entire MLS. Now, generally 4 to 6 months is considered a balanced market. And at 4.2, we are still slightly in seller's market territory, and that's reflected in the higher prices that we're still seeing. But look at North Las Vegas. It's sitting at only a 2.8 month supply. That's pretty low. That means that if you're a buyer looking in North Las Vegas, you're going to have a little more competition. So now if you want to know what April and May are going to look like, let's take a look at pending sales. This is kind of our crystal ball. Now in March, we hit 3,216 pending sales for the month. That means how many homes were under contract in March. Those homes are generally going to close in April. And that's the highest level of contract activity we've seen since March of 2024, which is, we came pretty close in March, 3321 March of 2024. We came pretty close in March of 2025, 3,000 in pending at that point. So that's the highest level of contract activity we've seen for a while. That tells me that the 3,000 closings we just saw in March are likely to be eclipsed in April, unless we see a lot of contract cancellations, which could happen. Interest rates have bumped up quite a bit in the last 30 days, and that could drag down the closed sales for the month of April. But right now, the pipeline is full, the buyers are out, and the momentum seems to be building. So finally, the last metric we're going to look at, the big number, is total dollar volume. And this is just how many homes have closed in the resale market in March. The entire MLS, we saw $1.7 billion in real estate change hands in the resale market. That doesn't include new construction. That's just resale homes. Now in January, that number was down at 1.1, I think, or 1.2. Yeah. We're in January of 2026, we're at 1.132. So we've seen $500 million in additional monthly liquidity enter the market in just in the last 60 days. That indicates that the capital is flowing, confidence is higher, and the Vegas market is proving its resilience once again. So what's the takeaway for all this? We've got stable prices, we've got surging volume, we've got shrinking inventory. It's a faster paced, healthy market that is rewarding sellers who price correctly and buyers who are ready to move quickly. Now, if you want a deep dive into your specific neighborhood or your area, reach out to me by phone or at the calendar link below. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next update.